We're going to talk about timing the market this morning. The market's certainly in a transitioning phase at the moment, but what happens next? Stay Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you, Billy?
Very good, thank you. Very good. And yourself?
I'm good. I'm great. I love a Tuesday. Love a Tuesday. Monday's over. We've caught up from the weekend. And then I feel like the week officially starts for me on a Tuesday because Monday is just like a continuation of the weekend, all the work that took place. So Tuesday's like, great. Now I've got appraisals, lots of vendor meetings. Love. Billy, it's here. The time has arrived for the buyers. It's official, guys. The party has started for you, but you all forgot to turn up.
It feels a bit like that. We had actually quite good, good and strong group numbers through our open homes on the weekend. My busiest was 6, but I saw some of the team having, upwards of 10 through some of their opens. So there's still people turning up. There's not a lack of people coming through the front door. That's certainly not been an issue we've faced.
Yeah. So, and I think, when prices are rising, people actually fear missing out. Like it's a real thing. The market's hot and all of a sudden you've got like groups of 50, 60 coming through these properties. We've got multiple offers. Everyone's like vying for the same property. Offers are coming in, auctions, best and fairest. People are overpaying for property. And then when prices soften, people fear that they're making the wrong move or they're waiting for that discount to arrive. Now, here's the thing, guys, and I want to be super clear about this. There is no date in our calendar when the market shifts down, and there's no date in our calendar when the market shifts up. That's the truth. So if you're trying to play the property market game and, I'm going to buy at the bottom, good luck with that. You're actually better off to go to the casino and to put your money all on red or black. Don't try that. That's just an analogy. But that is the honest to God truth. So the market has arrived, your discount is here, but I'll tell you the extremely concerning part for me watching the buyers, and that is the stock levels. We track them very, very carefully. I actually just did a little bit of research before I jumped on here, Billy, and stock levels are still low in comparison to where they were 5 years ago. That concerns me. A lot of building is not taking place, and the stock levels, we are not seeing them rising. It's not like we've seen an abundance of stock coming to market. I don't know if you've got those numbers there, Billy. I know you're great at tracking that sort of stuff. But at the moment, on the Northern Beaches, we're sitting, when I checked last, have you got the numbers, by the way?
Yeah, it's about 950 properties on realestate.com for the whole of the Northern Beaches. Anything under 1,000 is certainly not an excessive amount. Sorry, anything under 1,000 is not an excessive amount. Upwards of 1,200, 1,300, where it starts to get a little bit more, supply out there. But I think for the Northern Beaches, it's a funny market. We'll try and bring it back down to Northern Beaches for those viewers that are local. But for anyone that's not as well, if you look at the basic supply and demand of any, like in any economy, not just property, that really helps to create a starting point for where prices might go. The more supply there is, then people have got choice there. But when there's simply no property coming to market or it's slowed down, it will help support prices in a slightly more turbulent time.
So let's look at that supply versus demand for a moment, because that is one of the only equations that we look at as real estate agents. And that is when there's more demand than there is supply, property prices go up. When there's more supply, so more properties are out there and on the market, or lots of properties are being built, then there is demand, property prices usually come down. So we're always looking at those numbers. And as Billy said, at the moment, we're reporting when we look on the real estate portals that there's approximately, in fact, I think it's a little bit less than that. There's let's say 950 though, for argument's sake. That is not a huge amount of property. And I would suggest, in my opinion, that half that stock is old stock that's been sitting with its days on market for quite some time. It's looking old, it's looking stale, and it's looking fragile. And that's the stock that you should be seriously considering and going and throwing offers out and saying to the agent, submit that offer to the vendor and let me know what they say.
Yeah.
Vendors are listening at the moment, guys. I'd say to you, across the Northern Beaches, we've seen a discount on property of approximately 10%. And that drop came so quickly that even we as real estate agents on the ground didn't have time to catch up.
Yeah. And I it's a funny environment at the moment. I'm seeing probably the equation where there's less buyers in the market just because of people cautious, waiting on the sideline. They've been impacted with finance, either from the budget taking away their negative gearing or the increased interest rates, slightly taking away some servicing there. So I think, there's not less property or less interest. There's probably just less competition for you at the moment. And any buyer that would sound like music to my ears. But that won't.
I
That
agree
won't.
with you.
And I think the season buyers recognise that. Good morning, Brennan.
Yeah, good
there are
morning.
people.
Hey, Brendan. Such a legend. So Brendan is a long-time client. Brendan knows a great market when he sees it. Brendan seems to be able to pick the market, actually. I reckon he's got the crystal ball. I reckon he knows when the market's coming up and coming down. But Brendan has bought well over the years. I can say that he's a past client of mine, or it's still a continuing client, but purchased at a great time. And, guys, when you look at a 10-year graph, I had this conversation with a vendor yesterday who I'm selling their property. They purchased it 3 years ago. They purchased at the peak in 2022, and now I'm reselling it for them 3.5 years ago. I'm reselling it for them, and they're saying, well, that was a shit investment. It was not a shit investment. You were not in the market for long enough. Because when you look over 10 years, property ordinarily doubles.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you were in the market for 3 years, I'm sorry to say, if you bought it 2022 and you're trying to resell your property now, you may very well be losing money, because we were, if we have a look at the graphs, they've gone up and down like a heartbeat in the last few years. So the peak was in 2022, then we came off the peak, then we reached the peak again, and now we're coming off the peak. And as I said, it happened that quickly. I feel like, Billy, we went to bed one night, maybe it was the Wednesday night after the budget, and we woke up the next morning and the property market had come off 10%. It happened that quickly, but it's not going to be here forever.
No. And so the second thing, if we can then get past supply and demand, the second thing is buyer sentiment and how people are feeling within the market. Because in a bullish market where everyone is in a state of fear of missing out, and they've got the pre-approvals to spend, they can be bullish with their offers and happy to overpay to secure. That creates like a buyer frenzy, and that momentum then gets hard to break. So at the moment, that buyer sentiment, that's where it's a bit softer. And as I said, I think that's where you're in an environment where there's few buyers to compete with, but it will definitely turn around.
Yep, I agree. So, and particularly if those stock levels continue to drop. Now, everyone on a Saturday night at a dinner party becomes a real estate advisor. Everyone on a Saturday night at a dinner party becomes a property analyst. It's unreal. Or they're going to give you the best financial advice, but they've never bought a property before. If you really want to know what's going on, guys, ask the people that are on the ground, because we're going to tell you. And we report it every day. We report it every single morning. We're constantly reporting what we are seeing, the honest to God truth with what we are seeing on the ground. So we are no longer in a roaring hot market. We are in a wonderful market to be buying in. And often we talk about, if you've got your pre-approvals, which usually last for 90 days, and you're sitting at day 70 going, oh no, my uncle said the property market's going to crash. It's going to crash by about 40%.
Yeah.
And then you've got this ticking time bomb sitting in your hands of 20 days before your pre-approval lapses. And then you're going to go and get your finance again, only to find out that they're going to shave off about 20 or 30% off your borrowing capacity. So be careful who you take your advice from. The amount of people, honestly, like I was chatting with a vendor, Billy, last week, and the vendor said to me, "Oh no, my friend told me," and I said, "Oh, okay." And so, sorry, is your friend a real estate agent? No. Are they a financial advisor? No. Accountant? No. Mortgage broker? No. Real estate agent? No. Solicitor? No. I was like, okay. Have they bought a property before? No. So where are they getting their advice from? Because if it's the Daily Telegraph, be careful.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's generalized, they're generalized headlines for generalized news. They're not specific to, your area or your price point, the postcode. So, yeah, I think be mindful where you get your advice from. Absolutely.
100%. And also, just to the vendors out there, I had a vendor meeting late last night, and my vendors were saying, we're scared, like we can't sleep at night, which is an awful conversation to have. But reassuring vendors out there, properties are selling, guys. They are selling. Trust me, I'm about to exchange one today. So, for the vendors that are realistic about the prices that they're looking for, the stock is definitely selling. If you are waiting to achieve a price now from the peak of the market back in 2022, I'm sorry to tell you, it's going to be quite unlikely for you. There are the anomalies out there, but it's going to be quite unlikely for you. So, your options in that situation are you can hold your property and wait until the market picks up again, or you can meet the market where it is at, or you can look at renting your property out for the short term until the market starts to pick up again. It always recovers. It always recovers. That's the truth. But right now you've got great buying opportunity. I'd say we have moved into a buyer's market now. Although it confuses me sometimes, I feel like it's still quite a balanced market when I have a look at some of the properties that we've sold of late.
Yeah. Yeah, well put. Thank you.
There we go. Thanks, guys. Hopefully that's helped people out there. Thank you, Billy. Another great session on a Tuesday.
Have a good day. Take care.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Yeah.